Alex, first of all, what kind of went differently in the second half that prevented you guys from being able to move the ball as well as you kind of did in the first?
I would just say, as an offense, we kind of came out flat there in the third quarter. I think it's something we got to work on, just our consistency coming out of the half and carrying that momentum into the fourth.
And Brock, defensively, I mean, you guys had a lot of turnovers there, especially in the first half. But what did they kind of do on the offensive side the second half to control the tempo, so to speak?
Yeah, I didn't think they did anything special. Just kind of think we need to finish at the end there in that second half, kind of like Al said. But just got to make the correct decisions or correct checks to get the defense aligned and ready to go.
All right, Alex, it seemed like North Dakota State's defensive line really controlled the second half. Was there anything different that maybe you saw from that front in the second half as compared to the first half?
They're a well-coached team. They came out with some different stunts and some different games that, as an offense line, we just need to handle a little better there in the second half. Yeah.
Yep, and then a similar question for you, Brock. It seemed like they made some adjustments in the second half, running with Lube Key a lot. Was there really a different look that they were presenting, or was it just a matter of them getting a push off the line?
I thought our D-line played great. But yeah, just some things. They ran the ball outside a little more, and then they were running their A-gap power, which they got a little push, but I thought our D-line played great up front.
Brock, did fatigue factor in at all with you guys playing as much as you did in the second half?
No, I don't think so. They're kind of a slower-paced offense, so we were able to get our breath back and, get a clean call from Coach Johansson and be able to get aligned up front.
And Alex, the sack numbers weren't astonishingly high for them. They're obviously known for having a good defensive front. I mean, were they causing any pressure other than getting to the quarterback that, was causing some of the offensive problems?
Yeah, I mean, they pressured Carson a little bit there, but he handled it really well, and I think as an offense, we handled pass protection pretty well today, except for there towards the second half.
Coming back onto the field after some of those mistakes late in the game, I mean, how as an offense can you respond better there?
We just got to keep swinging, bring our focus to every play. Every drive is a new drive, so can't think about it's in the past and move on from the last mistake.
It obviously didn't happen in the complete game, but for either of you, I mean, to be up on the #1 team in the country after the first half, I mean, does that teach you anything about your team? Is there anything that you can take away from that, or is the finish, something that's more front of mind right now?
That shows that we are a great team, and we can be that great team. Like I said earlier, we just got to come out in that second half and just finish the ball game.
Congratulations to Matt and his staff. They've got a really good football team. We played a good first half. We did what we needed to do, which, number one is when you play a team like that, you got to possess the football yourself. We did that, took advantage of, their turnovers. And unfortunately, in the second half, we didn't do that. They did a good job of possessing the football and moving it. Converting third downs. We did things in the second half that we didn't do in the first half. For drop a pass, it's probably a first down. We turned the ball over twice ourselves there on consecutive drives in the fourth quarter. One of those drives after we had moved it a little bit. And you can't do those things. You just can't do those things. Offensively, we gotta be better in the second half for sure. I'll take the blame for that. We competed. I really liked the way our guys competed, and knew that to win that game, it was going to have to be a game where we had to score, upper 20s in terms of points, and we were on track to do that through the first half, but didn't get it done in the second half.
When those mistakes started to pile up late in the game, was there a moment where you started to feel the team started to lose a little bit of control?
Defensively, even when we were 10 points down, I felt good because, we had shown flashes offensively of being able to get the ball, obviously, in the end zone. Didn't think that, 2 scores was difficult to overcome. The thing about it is when you're playing a possession team, time becomes the deal. And, when you're with 6 minutes to go and down 2 scores against a team like that can run the football the way that they can run the football, it's a difficult. You gotta force some things. And yeah, I think that's one thing I say with Carson today. I think he tried to force a little bit more than in the second half, particularly. He made some atypical plays for him, that's a function of when you're having to play from behind against a very good defense.
Obviously, early in the season, there wasn't a ton of offensive movement, but for you guys to come out with 17 points in the first half, I mean, were there any strides that you saw offensively for the first half?
Yeah, like I said, I think we had a really good plan. I thought, we moved the ball very well. If anything, we got away from, running the football in the second half. But, what happens, and against a team like that, is they possess it. And then when you turn it over, like I say, we turned it over on 2 consecutive possessions. I think one was actually, if I remember right, I think it was the first play, of a possession. And just give the ball right back to them. That's where they thrive. They'll hold the ball for 4, 5, 6 minutes in a drive, and that was not the kind of football that we could play in the second half, even though we went into halftime with the lead.
It was hard to tell where it was coming from, but there were some boos after you elected to kick that first field goal. Was that because you thought that there was going to be more chances? Just you saw?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously want to come away with points, we'd moved the ball pretty well. I didn't want to come away with no points. Getting 3 on the board and getting the lead early, I thought was important. As it turned out, we did a good job of driving the football later there at the end of the second quarter, and got the turnover and got that ball in the end zone right before half. Gave us a lot of momentum going into halftime. Just they're a good football team. You can't just play 2 quarters. You gotta play all 4.
Yep, and then Coach, maybe kicking the 3 there, just because you didn't have any timeouts and it seemed like that the play clock was going down. Did that kind of make the decision even a bit easier there to kick the field goal?
No, we had made that decision right away in terms of field goal. Yeah, we burned a couple timeouts in the first half that I'd like to have back, but that wouldn't have made any difference in that decision.
And then just talking about how your offense was able to execute down the stretch in that first half despite not having any timeouts, how encouraging was that to see?
Yeah, we did a good job managing the clock, using the boundary to stop the clock, kind of stuff that you want to be able to execute. That was a really good drive. We just needed a few more of those kinds of drives in the second half.
Yep, and then just in the second half, it seemed like North Dakota State's offensive line really got a push there, over 200 yards rushing in the second half. Luke Key was able to really, it seemed like he was just bulldozing down the field. What challenges or different looks maybe did North Dakota State present in their run?
It wasn't really any different looks. I think what they did a really good job of in the second half is, they ended up in third down in very manageable situations where, there were a couple of possessions where, we had a chance to get them off the field, where we had a back wrapped up and they lunged forward and got that extra yard or 2. And, it's the subtle differences of, those plays allowing them to keep possession. And as I talked about, on our opening drive of the second half, Travis Tice, who's a very sure-handed guy, he drops that ball that obviously would have continued that drive. Those are, you look at the flow of a game like that in the second half, and that ability their ability to sustain drives and our inability to sustain drives was a difference. Because against a team like that, you've got to you got to keep moving it all 4 quarters.
Yep, and then just one more thing for me. How encouraging was it? Miles came into the game responsible for all 4 turnovers, responsible for 2 of 3 turnovers tonight. Just talk about his ability to be a ball hawk there in that interception, just his ability to be able to force fumbles.
Yeah, he's a really good football player. He's playing at a really high level. We got a lot of guys that are. This week off is going to fall at a good time for us. We got some guys that we need to get back and need to get healthy. I'm not discouraged, in any way, shape, or form. Certainly, we got to be better offensively than we were in the second half. But I thought our guys competed and battled, and I think there's a lot of things off today's game that we can build on. But certainly a number of things that we've got to improve upon as well.
And Coach, part of what helped you guys get that lead in the first half was big defensive plays. Talked about the turnovers, but the field goal drive for NDSU, Nick Gaze had the shoestring tackle, and then you had the touchdown that looked like it was going to be a touchdown pass was broken up in the end zone on that 3rd down. I mean, talk about just the big plays that your guys made that maybe don't show up in a stat sheet tonight.
Yeah, I thought we had a lot of guys that played really, really well. A lot of another game where we didn't make a lot of big plays offensively. Had a chance or two to make one, but a lot of big plays defensively. The turnovers that they generated in the first half defensively, helped immensely in terms of our ability to build that lead, and it was good to see us capitalize on a couple of those, and they flipped the scale on that in the second half, and our turning the ball over generated opportunities for them.
And having that momentum going into halftime, and then NDSU goes on the 6-minute drive to start the second half with the touchdown to tie the game back up. Do you feel like that kind of took a little bit of wind out of the sails, so to speak, or flipped the momentum?
Well, that first possession drive of the 3rd quarter is always a big drive, and then taking that ball down the field and scoring a touchdown, I'm sure put momentum back in their sails. I think our guys, continued to compete. It's just that, like I said, when we needed to respond to that, we needed to match that, and those were the things that we didn't do in the second half. Is we didn't match their drives and their scoring possessions. And
we've talked about it a lot, the tough opening stretch of the schedule you guys have had now over 4 games. And then, the 5th game's also a tough one, obviously. How do you feel the guys have been able to continue to get better despite the outcome maybe not falling in your guys' favor?
I don't know. I mean, we're a better football team. We were a better football team today than we were at Montana. I think, without question. I think we were better in all 3 phases of the game. And we just got to keep getting better. That's one of the things that we talk about every week is we got to be a better football team Saturday than we were the previous Saturday. And we'll be a better football team next week at the end of the bye week, and we'll be a better football team in 2 weeks up in Brookings.
Coach.
Yeah, thanks.